What's going on? Coach Paul here, and in this video I'm going to break down the banded pull apart. I'm going to break down the 3 most common mistakes that I see clients make or people at the gym making. I'm going to give you 3 mental cues that you can use to remember to make sure that you are doing this exercise and warm up correctly. And last but not least, I'll show you 3 ways that you can modify this to either reduce pain or put you in a more advantageous position for your body. So with this band pull apart, the first thing you're gonna wanna make sure that you have is a band that is the right amount of tension to pull apart. There's a number of different companies that you can use. I like Giant Lifting, I like Rogue, I like Titan, but ultimately you're gonna wanna find something that is around this thickness. You can go a little bit heavier, but then you can either double it up or you can go single. And that's gonna be one of the first mistakes that I see people making is they're going at it with a band that's way too light or it's way too heavy. It's totally fine to go down to 1 band and pull apart here. If you need more tension, go here, but then I also don't wanna see you making this next mistake, which is very common to what people do in the face pull. In an attempt to get that band to pull apart, you sacrifice your spinal integrity. And so you're not actually getting the motion that you want, you're finding it through the rib cage and through the lower back. And so if you're here, you need to go lighter with your band. You need to keep that rib cage tucked down. You need to keep that lower back in a neutral position. The other mistake that I'll see people making is the motion. So this is scapular retraction. You should be feeling like you're pinching a pencil in between your shoulder blades as you're doing this, and you should be having your shoulders pulled down away from your ears. But I'll see a couple different variations of tricep extensions. So right here, scapula aren't moving. This is a tricep workout, which is actually kind of a hard tricep workout, but not what we're going after here. And so you're either going elbows as the hinge point, which you don't want, or you got those shoulders up high, shoulders down low, arms long, and then keep that rib cage tucked over that pelvis. Now let's dive into 3 different mental cues that you can give yourself that are kind of similar to these mistakes I just covered, but to make sure that you are executing this in the right way possible. So first one is gonna be staggering that stance and just making sure that that rib cage stays stacked over the pelvis. So as you go to execute this with your 1 band or with your 2, you wanna make sure spinal integrity doesn't change. That exhale helps keep the rib cage drive down. The stacked stance is gonna help you be more athletic, and rather than rocking forward and back in your hips, you're loading forward and back into your legs. So the next one is gonna be making sure that your scapula are coming together and retracting. So as you're doing this, you're feeling a pencil or some blueberries, some jam that you're making in between, that you are bringing your scapula together, squishing those and releasing them. And so I kind of gave you a few cues in that initial one. So really the mental cues to be thinking about is rib cage stacked over pelvis, exhaling, and then making sure that your arms are straight, scapula are pulling apart. You should be feeling this here in your rhomboids, up in the middle. If you're feeling it up in the neck, go a little bit lighter. And then from there, just make sure that you're doing 10, 15, 20 reps, kind of depending on what you're doing from a warm-up standpoint, or if it's something that you're putting in later in your workout program. Last is gonna be different variations or different modifications that you can make to almost kind of position your body in a place to where it's easier to do this. So let me show you. All right, so the first modification that you can make is actually going to be a wall or a floor. And the reason why is because this is going to give you feedback necessary to make sure that your rib cage and spine is staying neutral. So I can come here with my back on this and pull apart, no issue. So you can also do this on the floor and get the same response, but now I'm getting that feedback tactically or kinetically from the wall that's saying, hey, my scapula pulling apart, my back staying connected. I'm not arching my lower back, I'm not flaring my rib cage. And that's gonna be something that's also really helpful if you've got a sore low back or you got some injury that you're working for. You're using the wall or the floor to create some more stability. All right, this next modification is a great version of the exercise if you don't have a band, but you still want to create a very similar movement pattern. So with these handles, I'm just gonna do the same thing. Stagger my stance, Arms will get extended, chest high, pull apart, bring it back in. Pull apart, bring it back in. I'm still exhaling as I pull apart. I'm still staggering my stance to stay athletic. Shoulders are staying down. And you can basically execute the exact same exercise, you just don't have the accommodating resistance. Instead, you got the cable that is providing a constant resistance. But I also like this because it's got that hinge, or however you would call this, to where you can set up any angle that you need to be a little bit more advantageous for you. And then for the last one, you've got this exercise here that I filmed previously where you're using a TRX to create a very similar movement pattern. Big thing to remember here as you're doing this is you want to make sure that you are almost vertical, because it is very hard to pull your weight up as you get at a lower and lower and lower incline. Get yourself to like an 80-degree incline with just a little bit of lean, pull yourself apart, and you're going to be able to get a very similar training response as you would with a band or with a cable. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about how I program for clients and build their custom program within my E4 Fit method, there's a link below in the description to where you can click that, check out some FAQs, check out a video overview of the program, and ultimately book a call totally free. We can just map out your game plan and what that looks like for you. If you want to learn more about training, nutrition, recovery, mindfulness, everything within this channel, be sure and subscribe, ding that notification bell, like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Share it with a friend. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next video.